Today's vlog is going to be all about doing the prep for the Pona jacket from Helen's Closet Patterns, and this is the last item in our Sewalong capsule collection. So if you're interested in making a jacket that's easy to sew, great for beginners, and will go well with whatever outfit you're going to wear, then the Pona will probably be the jacket of choice for you. So let's get cracking. Hi there, I'm Christine the Gemini Stitcher and welcome to my sewing space. This is the last item in our Sewalong capsule collection. As I've already said, it's the Pona jacket from Helen's Closet Patterns. So let's find out a little bit about what they say about the Pona jacket. The Pona jacket is a modern outer layer that is easy to make and style. An extra wide facing allows the unlined jacket to drape open in the front. There's no closures on this jacket. The Pona has an oversized blazer feel to it, complete with pockets and a statement lapel style. Make a modern cropped version of the Pona in linen or for warm weather, or a long jacket in wool for the fall and winter. Pona is a perfect beginner jacket pattern. Sounds really good, doesn't it? Now, I've had a look at line drawings and some of the pictures of the stock images of the Pona will be popping up as I'm talking to you. So what sizes does the Pona actually come in as an option on the pattern? The jacket comes in US sizes 0 up to a 30. Now, to make that easier for the people in the UK, I'll give you the bust size, which is what I would go off to decide which size jacket I was making. So in inches, the bust goes from 31 inch up to 56 inch bust. Now on this pattern, they also give you the finished garment measurements. So I'll pop the size measurements, body measurements, and then the finished garment measurements here while I'm talking about what I've decided to do for my sizing for this pattern. Because this is where people tend to start struggling, particularly with indie patterns, and don't get the fit right. But fingers crossed, if you follow my fail-safe little plan, you'll end up with a jacket that you'll love and fits perfectly. Now bear in mind that the Pona is a loose fit jacket, which is going to make it a bit easier for fitting purposes because we're not trying to fit it close to the skin or the body. So I normally do a size 6 in American sizes, but when I've looked at the bust measurements on the body measurements chart, a size 6 is saying it's a 34 inch bust. Now my bust measurements are 35. So a size 8 is a 35 inch bust. So I'm sort of thinking along the lines of doing an 8 when I do my toile, just to see. So I'm going to be cutting out a size 8, and the finished garment bust measurements for a size 8 are a 42 inch, which gives you 7 inches of ease. And I know that sounds like a lot, but 1, it's a jacket, and 2, it's meant to be a loose fit jacket. So if I went down to a size 6, it's 41.5. So there's only half an inch different in those sizes. But I'm going to do an 8 and see how I feel with it. So what I would suggest that you do, if you're not sure, even before you do the toile, what size you should be cutting out, grab your trusty tape measure put it round your body or get somebody to do it, where your bust area is, 42 inches is there on me, and that's giving me plenty of room around my bust area. Now, if your problem area is your hips, then do the same with the hips. Check that the jacket is not going to be too tight. So the finished garment measurements for the hips is 42, the same. And although there's not as much room there, there's still comfortably enough room at my hips. So we're going with a size 8. So we've decided on our size. Get your pattern cut out, the pattern pieces cut out to the size that you've decided on. If you're really unsure, I suggest you trace the pattern first to the size, and then you've got your original pattern as is if you need to alter the sizing when you've done your toile. Now, I've looked at the pattern pieces and I know I've cut it out to an 8, and if I want to, I can easily cut it all down to a 6 on the pattern. So I've been naughty. I don't trace, I've cut the pattern out. Now we're going to do the pattern out. Now we're going to do a quick and dirty toile. And by that, I mean we're not going to sew the whole jacket. All I'm going to be doing is getting the front, 2 fronts, and the back. We're going to sew it at the shoulder and the side seams, and then I'm going to try it just to see how much room there is before we commit it to our fabric. So let's do that now, and then we can talk yummy fabrics. Okay, so I've got 2 fronts and the back on the fold. I've used some spare fabric that I've got in my stash. Now I've cut this to the crop length, I've not shortened it, and I know I possibly might have to, but it depends what they're calling cropped, doesn't it? If cropped is like here, I like mine a little bit longer. So I've left it the crop length but not shortened it on this toile just to gauge the length of it. As I've already said, I decided to cut a straight size 8 out. I'm going to sew the fronts, the backs at the shoulders and at the side seams, just of these bodice pieces. Try it on and see how I feel for the fit before we do the lovely fabric that we're going to make it in. So I'll whiz that up and then come back to you with the bodice pieces for try on together. So I've put together my backs and my fronts just as my quick and dirty toile. I'm okay with the width in it, so I think I will stick with an 8. It's probably a couple of inches too long in the length, but I'm going to check what size of hem it has on the bottom and bear that in mind. But I think I will need to take at least an inch out of the length in the front and the back. It is a drop shoulder, but it's coming halfway down my arm, so I'm going to have a look at the line drawings, see where it lies on them, maybe do a narrow shoulder adjustment to bring that up a little bit, because I want it to be like there. So if I take that much out of there, that's probably where it needs to be. So about an inch out of the shoulder to make it where it needs to be. And then I will also have to shorten the sleeves, because I always do. and then we can start cutting out. So size 8, maybe I could go down to a size 6, to be honest, because I know it's meant to be big, but there's quite a lot of room in here at the hips. Loads of room, in fact, so I will go down to a 6, and I will also do the narrow shoulder adjustment and shorten the length, but I'll talk you through the alterations that I've done when I've done them on the pattern and we're ready to cut out. So let's talk fabrics. The fabrics that are recommended for the Pona jacket are light to medium weight woven fabrics with no stretch, such as mid-weight linen or cotton, corduroy and wool. Pona can be made in lighter weight drapey fabrics such as tencel, twill for a more fluid look. So pretty much any light to medium weight fabric, no stretch, woven fabrics. So I've raided my stash and I thought I'd share a few inspirations with you, and then we'll get my first Pona jacket cut out. Now, when I said I've raided my stash, I've got a lot of fabric choices. So let's have a look through. I thought it would be good in a boucle fabric, but maybe that's better for the longer line one for the autumn and winter. I've also got some double-sided quilted double gauze in this green colour, and I thought it might work in this, but whether I would put the facing on the inside, I'm not sure. I might leave the facing off and bind the edges, but that's an option. For the longer one, for the more wintry one, what about this cord? I think it's quite a decent weight to it, and I think for a mid-length one that could work very well. I also thought about some denim, and I've got this really lovely leopard print woven denim. And I quite fancy the idea of the shorter cropped one in that, maybe. But then you'll remember, if you watched my Pietra pants hack, I did some cream trousers and I did some rust piping on them. And I thought that to do the jacket in the rust, and then I have got some of the cream left, so I might do the main jacket in the rust and do the facings in the cream, and then it will go as a 2-part set, cord, whatever you want to call it, jacket and trousers, suit, whatever, and they will both go together. So I'm thinking that that is the one that I'm going to do first as my sew-along jacket. So I'm going to go and make the alterations to the pattern pieces, and then I'll see you at the cutting table and I'll talk about what I've actually done. So I've altered all my pattern pieces. Now, I've shortened the front and the back by about 3 inches in length. And if you do that, you need to remember to shorten the front facing pieces to match as well. And then the other thing that I've done, you can see I've cut into the pattern here, and this is to do my narrow shoulder adjustment. So it's been taken in there by 1 inch at the shoulder, and it's cut down to a point and cut in from the side halfway to create a little hinge, and then the excess is added into the sleeve. So that's how I do my quick narrow shoulder adjustment. And then the only other thing that I thought I might need to alter would be the sleeves. But on these sleeves, there's 2 cut lines, one for the full length sleeves and one for a cropped sleeve. So I folded it over where the crop sleeve should be, and I think that's going to work as a full length sleeve for me. I don't like crop sleeves on jackets. I'm forever pulling them down. They just feel weird. So for me, if I fold it over where the crop sleeve should be, that is a full length sleeve on me. So that was an easy alteration to make. And that's it really. I can then start to cut out. Now I did say I was going to try and do mine 2-tone, so I've got the cream fabric on my cutting table, and I'm just cutting the front facings out of cream and then the rest out of the rust fabric. The idea being, when the collar is folded over and you've got that big wing collar detail, that will be cream because that'll be the facing, and the rest of it is going to be the rust. So a bit of a contrast with the trousers, and I think it will work really well. So a few things to remember when you're cutting out. Don't forget the grain line on your pattern pieces. Pin it at the top where the top arrow is, measure to the edge of your selvage, and then adjust where the bottom arrow is to the same, so that you know that your grain line is straight. There's not that many pieces in this pattern, so you've got to cut out 2 front facings, 2 fronts, 2 sleeves, 1 back on the fold. You've got 2 pocket options. Because I'm doing the crop version, I use the smaller pocket. You've got your back neck facing piece, which is cut 1 of those on the fold, and you've got your collar, which you cut 2 of those on the fold. So I'll go and get all those done, and then I will see you back here next week when we're going to do our sew along. I hope you've had some inspiration from my ideas and ramblings today, picked up some tips on the alterations that you might need to do, and maybe changed your mind about the fabric you're going to use. Maybe not. So today's video is complete. Next week is going to be the sew along, and then the week after that we'll talk about other garments, hacks, etc. that you can make with the Pona jacket pattern. So take care, happy sewing, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye!